Hello all, this is Mr. Mayer. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, we will solve a real-world area application problem, and by the end you want to be able to say I can create and solve equations to find areas and costs in real-world situations. So we have a word problem. Let's go ahead and underline the important information. It says you are helping refloor the entrance and living room of your uncle's house. The entrance is a square and the living room is a rectangle. That sounds pretty important. The entranceway is a square and the living room is a rectangle. The cost of the wood is $4.25 per square foot. Definitely very important. How much is the cost of the wood for the new floor? So I need the total cost. So this is what we're looking for in the end. So to go ahead and start off, what I want to do is I'm trying to figure out how much wood is going to be used. And in order to figure out how much wood would cover the entire flooring, what I'm trying to do to figure out how much wood would be used on a flat surface, this is asking us to find the area. Area covers a flat surface or a plane. I see I have a square, I have a rectangle. We can use the same formula for both of those things. Area for squares and rectangles, either length times width, or most often we use base times height. So I'm going to go ahead and differentiate. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm marking which figure, which shape I'm talking about each time. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and split these two things up. So it's I can't really find the area of an L as easily as I can find the area of just a single rectangle and then just a single square. So let's go ahead and if I go to find the area of the square first, I'm noticing I don't have any numbers directly related to only the square. I have a 12, but that 12 is for this entire piece that creates this L shape. So what I want to do is, maybe the square is not a good place for me to start. I'm just going to go ahead and get started on this rectangle because I already know that the 14 is the length, or this is the base because it's at the bottom. The height of this is going to be 7. So I already have both values that I need for the area of my rectangle. So the base is going to be 14 feet. My height is going to be 7 feet. And since this is true, I'm just multiplying these together. 14 times 7 is 98. Feet times feet. Now we make sure that we discuss this clearly. If I have a foot times another foot, what this does is I'm going to take that unit of measurement and I'm going to say something times itself in math is to the second power. So that's where we get foot squared, feet squared, or square feet. So that's exactly the kind of notation or the words that we want to use for the cost. So we're on the right track. We know that we are doing everything correctly right now. So that's the area of the rectangle. Moving on to the area of the square. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to use some knowledge, some measurements from somewhere else in the diagram to help me with this square. So if I look here, I'm noticing this full distance is 12 feet, but for the rectangle, this piece is only 7 feet. So in order to figure out what's left, in order to figure out how much this length is going to be, what I can say is, well, this piece plus this piece is going to create the entire length of this side. So I'm going to use the segment addition postulate and say, let's say 7 plus this missing value, let's call it x, is going to be 12. And that way I can subtract 7 from both sides and learn that the length of this side is going to be 5. And this is 5, same units as before, feet. Some of you may have noticed, well, couldn't I have just done 12 minus 7? Absolutely. But my job is always to make sure you understand why we're doing what we're doing. This is why you would want to subtract it. Okay? Now, I have that this is 5. Can I do the exact same idea to figure this one out? Well, I don't have this measurement. So I cannot do it the exact same way. I'm wondering if there's any other information that was given to me that would be helpful, and I look back at my directions. So always remember your directions are here to help you out. The entrance is a square and the living room is a rectangle. Well, if the entrance is a square and I know that this side is 5, squares have all congruent sides. So that means that this side must also be 5. So to finish this one off, in order to find the area of my square, it's still base times height, and this time again all the sides are congruent, so I know I'm going to do 5 feet times 5 feet, and that will give me 25, same thing as before. This is feet squared. So this is my area of my square. This is my area of the rectangle. And in math, if I want to find everything put together, I'm going to add these two things up. So the area of my entire shape, of my L shape, this is going to be 98 plus 25, which is 123 feet squared. Okay, so this is my area for the entire figure. Now, if they just said find the area, we'd be finished. But right now it says that we are going to need to find the cost. It says the cost of wood for 1 square foot is $4.25. So remember, per means for every. We don't just have 1 square foot here. We have, in fact, 123. So the last thing I need to do for the cost is I need to work out what is 123 times 4.25. If I go ahead and work this out, let's use long multiplication. Always very helpful to go through these steps. And this is 6. I'm going to drop a 0 for a space, cross out my original carries. 2 times 3, 2 times 2, 2 times 1. Put in another 2 placeholders. 4 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 times 1. And I'm going to add them all up. So I'm getting that my cost is 5, this is 7, this is 10, plus 2 is 12, carry. 3 plus 9 is 12, plus 1, carry. 1 plus 4 is 5. So I'm seeing this huge number, but I forgot there's a decimal place right here. When I do long multiplication, just count how many spaces you need to move the decimal place over. 1, 2, boom. And my final cost is going to equal $522.75. Okay, so this is our final cost. Thank you guys for tuning in, and good luck on your project.